when you're a minister, you're asked at the time when they say you'll speak that, what are you going to speak about? So you pull something out and you think, oh, I think I'll talk about this, right? And then you think about it and you forget about it because 6 weeks pass. And then you think, oh, what was it that I said I was going to talk about again? Yeah. No, I actually did look at the, the title a few times. But when I thought of it and thought about how I was going to talk about this, what's in your toolkit, I had one thought about it and one way of looking at it. But as I was working with it in my mind and in my heart, because I just sit with things and let them marinate and see what's coming about it, it morphed and changed. And so I had a lesson that I received by thinking about this concept. And so I'll share that with you. But first I started out with what's in your toolkit. So let's talk a little bit about tools. So how many of you are handy people? Some handy people out there? Yes, all right. So you've got some tools. My wife's going, I don't know. She has a tool belt, so I'm just saying, okay. And I said to the people in the first service, I don't even know what the stuff is that's in there, the words, so I probably shouldn't have brought up tools for handy people because I don't use them. But I know that there's a hammer, and there's a screwdriver, and then there's something that you roll and it opens and closes, and wrench, there you go, yeah. So all those tools are things that people who do handy things use, and they take out the right tool for whatever it is that they're trying to solve for, and that's beautiful. But they're also tools for almost everything we do. How many artists in the room? People who paint or sculpt or make things that are beautiful. Crafty people, yeah. Crafters, wonderful. Anybody wrap presents? Yeah. That gets everybody in, all right? So all of those things require our tools. As an artist, you lay out your palette, you decide what colors you're going to work with, you have your brushes, you have all the things that you need, your little board, your canvas. If you're a sculptor, you have your clay or your material or your marble, whatever it is. If you're a potter, like my wife is, you have your clay, you've got your glazes, you've got all the different tools, because you have in mind what it is you're trying to accomplish with those things. And you learn as you go that you might need more and more tools as you go along. And you start to get a little bit more refined in the things that you do with your tools. One of the things that I do is I sing and I write. So as a writer, of course, having pencil, pens, paper, right? But now we have all these electronic tools, so having your computer nearby is also a useful thing. I've sat in windows and wrote books. And the tools of my mind also, and the tool of my heart, right? But we're going to talk a little bit about those external tools first, these tools that we use to get things done. So in spiritual life, we always talk about the things that we need to navigate our life. One of the things I remember is Alice Walker wrote a book, and it was called Hard Times Require Furious Dancing. And I thought that was a great title because it's a hard time. Anybody having a little bit of a challenging time? Yeah. So she said, she was giving us an idea. A hard time requires furious dancing. That's one of the tools. Dance it out, right? So we have tools that are external like that we use our body, that we do. We're really good at the doingness. So first we'll talk about the doingness of us, because we sometimes forget about the thoughts and the beingness of us, but we'll talk about the doingness of us. So we dance. We write. We speak, we share, we have friendship, right? We sing. Yes, we do these things. We also, what did we do earlier this morning? Meditate. It's one of our tools, right? We meditate, we go into the silence, we go inside. It's one of the tools that we have. We pray. In our teachings, we pray affirmatively. So we don't pray begging or supplicating. We pray from the standpoint of the thing itself has already given everything that's needed and required. Therefore, I'm going to stand in prayer knowing the truth that everything is already here. Everything that I need is already present. So we pray affirmatively for whatever it is that we're looking for. And it's a beautiful tool. And it's something that I learned in this teaching, maybe 20 years ago now, 25 years ago. Before that, I didn't have that kind of prayer. I only had the tool that said, let me just drop to my knees and ask something, I don't know what the thing is, to do something about this situation that I'm in, right? And that, anything works. The thing itself doesn't really care how you do it. We have our 5-step process, or 4-step process, or a 3-step process, and it doesn't really care. As long as you are clear in your heart and you're connecting in with that divine source, the way we get it done is not so important. But it's actually helpful to us in our souls to have this process of affirmation in our prayer. So it's a wonderful tool for us to say, I get to affirm something I understand about how the universe works. I get to affirm that it is all-inclusive, that it has everything in it, that it doesn't ever end. I don't need to add anything to it. I just need to be aware and be present with it and allow what's true to move through my being. That's a beautiful tool. Anybody do any tapping? Yeah. So there's this process of using your own fingers and your own body, and these some tapping points. And the beautiful thing about this kind of a teaching is that we take in all kinds of practices, right? We don't exclude everything and say it's just our way or no way, right? It's like whatever works for you. If tapping works for you, prayer works for you, meditation works for you, dancing works for you, we're here for it, right? And tapping is one of those things that has ancient practices in it. I mean, these are like meridians from probably Chinese medicine that they're tapping on, right? Tapping here, tapping on the eyebrows, the outside of the eyebrows. And they've actually learned that this helps our nervous system calm down. So it's a tool that's worthwhile having in your toolkit. So if you could imagine you had some little index cards that you would say, let's see, I use journaling, I use meditation, I use prayer. I didn't use that tapping thing. I'm going to write that one down. Okay. I don't dance probably as much as I could. I could probably just sing a little bit more. These are all the tools that we have available to us. And what else? Nature. So going into nature, touching a tree will ground me instantly. The tree has no judgment. You know, we made fun of the people in the 60s about tree huggers, that kind of thing, right? They had something, all right? This idea of hugging a tree. When I touch a tree, first, I just have such reverence for the beings that they are, the way they stand resolute, and the way that their roots are so deep. And they ask for nothing, and they receive whatever is there, the air, the water, what happens in the soil. They use it, they suck it up, they take it in. And then when you put your hand on a tree, it has no judgment. It takes whatever you give it. It's such a beautiful tool. I just download whatever, beautiful redwood that I live near. Can you take this, please? And it does. So whatever tools work for you are the ones you want to use. And they don't have a hierarchy. And this is important for me to say for me. Because sometimes when we're in a spiritual teaching, we feel like, okay, I need to get my meditation on. I better get that affirmative prayer right, because as soon as I'm feeling out of sorts, I need to, get it right again. But we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are humans. So having the human experience is part of being here on the planet in the body. So when we have challenges, we go to whatever is going to work for us to find our way back to that peace inside, to find our way back to alignment. Because what we know is that love itself is running everything. And so when we are feeling out of alignment, when we're feeling our hearts closed, when we're not feeling the love, we say, I'm noticing. First, let me just notice and pause. I don't have to fix it right away. Let's have that human experience. Let's notice. I feel out of sorts. I'm not feeling love right now. We don't have to immediately jump out of that. We can be in it and feel it and notice and see what am I hearing? What's happening in me, right? So this hierarchy of things that we do, I like to binge watch things. Anybody else do that? I don't know. I might be the only person. But the most recent thing that I have learned to binge watch, because I actually also like food. So one of the things I sometimes turn to is some food that comforts me, and I love it. And we are always told, don't eat comfort food, emotional eating. It's like, you do what you need to do. So sometimes I have popcorn. That's how it is. Sometimes it's chocolate. And sometimes it's watching. And then we recently discovered this show that's called Somebody Feed Phil. Anybody heard of it? If you haven't seen it, you want to see this. So Somebody Feed Phil is a Netflix thing, and it's about this guy who goes around the world tasting food. And it's amazing and funny and wonderful and silly. And so I sit and watch Somebody Feed Phil sometimes, and sometimes I'm even eating something. Yeah. But whatever works, right? So the thing is, I'm not saying to myself, what are you doing watching somebody feed Phil? You should be praying right now. You should be meditating right now. You better get down on that mat, right? Get some yoga in. You know what your tools are. The tools are all there for our use. And the important thing for me is not that we always go to those doing tools. But we begin to think about the being aspect. We're also a teaching that's really big on thought, right? And of course, we want to pay attention to how we're thinking, because the thoughts move what happens in our life. But thoughts are followed by feelings. And sometimes we forget the feeling part. We're going to try and think our way out of this. I'm going to figure it out. How many times have you ever said, I'm going to figure it out, right? So I really try not to ever figure anything out because usually the part of my mind that wants to figure things out is not the part that's necessarily connected to my heart. So when I want to be connected to my heart, I really open up and say, how am I feeling? What is the feeling that I'm after? Because a lot of times what we're dealing with is a sense of disjointedness, a sense of disorientation, a sense of dis-ease that we want to heal. So when we're feeling those things, we want to let ourselves feel it so we can move into the answer for it. And what are some of those tools? The tools I mentioned are all things that you can reach for. Journals and sit down in meditation and go read a book or do your yoga or sing or dance or move. There's all external. But internally, we forget that we're actually looking for something. For the sake of what am I doing all these things? Why do I reach for my journal? Why do I sit down in meditation? Why am I doing all these things? Because I want to be in alignment and in peace. I want to feel the love again. I want my heart to open again. So it's oneness that's a tool. Joy, peace, love. Sometimes it's forgiveness that's the tool. I'm feeling really, really angry about these people. I'm really feeling frustrated about these people. I'm feeling something in my heart I don't like anymore. What do I need now? Forgiveness. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like my life is too hard. I'm feeling like I can't get everything done I need to get done. What do I need to feel? I need to feel some gratitude now. Gratitude is a tool. Because it's true, right? It's not that we are denying the situation that we're in. We're saying, what is the feeling place that I actually want to move to right now? What is it that I'm after? What tool that's in my toolkit internally, in my emotional life, in my heart, that I can use right now? I don't need anything. I can be out and not have anything near me, just me. Gratitude, joy, peace, love. I can have access to these things at any time because they're in me. I don't require a journal. I don't require a certain kind of meditation music. I don't require any of those things in order to have the tools I need to navigate the life that we're in. It's you that matters. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. It's not all the practices. I actually wrote a little song, and we're going to sing this song in the middle of me speaking because I am doing the thing that I need to do when I feel like I need something, which is to speak, to share, to sing. So we'll sing this little song for you, and then I will complete the thoughts that I had for you today. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. 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 When you open yourself from the inside out, only good is coming about. When you open your heart and let it all out, there is only good. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. Tell somebody else. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. Yeah. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. No matter what's happening around you, what lives inside can astound you. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you, and 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 you. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. And one more time, just our voices. Something wonderful is happening here, and it's you. Yes, it is. So it's this beingness, this being you, that's the greatest opportunity you have. And the tools that are within you at all times are there for the purpose of allowing you to stay in alignment with good, stay in alignment with peace, stay in alignment. Doesn't mean that we try to get there too fast either. Had a beautiful share after the first service, someone who had a great loss. And she said, I can only take care of myself right now. That's all I can do. And absolutely, you taking care of you is part of taking care of the whole. You coming completely split apart and not able to focus and tune in doesn't help anyone. So whatever you need to actually get your place in that alignment. There's a beautiful parable of two monks walking along, and these monks are in a very strict order that has all kinds of rules, and you don't touch human beings, you don't touch women, you don't, you get food only by asking for it, you don't cook, there's all these things you don't do. So they're having a walk, and they're walking along, they're going from one sanctuary to another monastery, and as they're walking along, there's a woman that's on the side of the road, and she looks like she's hurt herself. She doesn't seem like she can move or get up, and she's trying to get up. So the one monk picks her up and carries her over to a place where there are other people and puts her down. So they continue their walk, and they have a few miles to go, and a couple miles have passed, so 20 minutes have passed, and the other monk says to the one, I just can't stop thinking about this. You picked up a woman. We're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to touch people. We're not supposed to interfere with anything, da-da-da-da. And he was just so upset and ranting and raving. And the one monk said, I picked her up, and I put her down. And you've been carrying her this whole time, okay? So that's what we do, right? We have things that come through us. We have issues. We have troubles. We have something we just read. And it comes to us, and we don't always put it down. We can pick it up. It's okay, because sometimes, again, as people who are in a spiritual life, we think, well, I don't want to pick up that thing that's scary. I don't want to pick up that thing that's harsh. I don't want to let it in me at all. Trusting that we have the strength and that this vehicle and that this beautiful life we have can move through everything. We can feel those feelings. We can lift the woman and carry her and put her down and still be in an integrity. Because we let it go at some point. We let it go, not because we've forgotten the pain and the suffering, because we are transforming the pain and the suffering back to the love that we are. But we can't do it immediately all the time. We transform, but we first have to accept what it is, right? So in the spirit of that, I'm going to share a poem that I wrote that I needed to write because poetry is another tool, right? It's a tool that we have. And when I was feeling some feelings, I needed to write it down. You are an insanely grieving madwoman. You hold the world in your heart. You rage inside your inner rooms, pacing back and forth, tearing at your hair, trying to feel, afraid to break, afraid to speak, afraid to heal. Where will the madness go? You choked trying to swallow it. Sing it. Dance it, paint it, say it, let it flow out. I hate the war and the endless killing. I hate my neighbors being kidnapped off the street. I hate that children go unfed and supplies rot in warehouses at man-made borders. I hate that people believe lies. I hate the divide. I hate the greed. I hate the hate, and all this hate does nothing. No good comes of it. And it's not even true. I say hate, but it's grief. How can this insanely grieving madwoman release the madness and make room for love? Only through real tears. Let them come. Let them come. Let them fall on holy ground in reluctant soil of my broken heart. Let the tears come. I needed to write that because I needed to be tender with myself and say the thing I needed to say. This is someone who I wrote, my second book is all about love, deep and wide, and living into that space. And yet I needed to say the words, I hate these things that are happening. The only way I could transform them was to put it out there in my way, whether it was a dance or whether it was a song, whether it was poetry, whether it was just a friend that you're speaking to. I needed to express it to transform it into art, to transform it into the possibility of something else. But when I allowed myself to feel the grief, then it began to transform in me. I was able to be tender with my grief because that's what it really was. See, it's easier for us sometimes to be angry. It's easier for our rage sometimes. It's easier for those emotions that have motion in them. It's harder for us to feel the sadness and the grief that we have because we're afraid of it more than we're afraid of our anger. So we allow ourselves tenderly to be with everything that shows up. Isn't that Rumi's beautiful poem, The Guest House? Welcome it all. My tool is to be tender with myself. My tool is to be present with myself, with whatever shows up. And knowing that I know what my true north is. I know that returning to the idea of love is always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. So even if I take a moment to feel my feelings, love, alignment, peace, joy, it's all there. It's ever present. And I have the opportunity to have my human experience and trust that it'll show up. And I'm going to remember my slide now, the first one. The first service, Unity has this wonderful practice of putting up a couple of things for people to think about. And I forgot the first time. So this time I remembered. I'm really proud of myself. Not that I can see these screens or read this. No, I can when I get closer, okay. But this is a quote from my book on radical self-tenderness to remind ourselves to apply tenderness. Where there is regret, tenderness. Where there is sorrow, tenderness. Where there is shame, tenderness. Where there is longing, tenderness. Anywhere where peace cannot be found, apply tenderness there. Anywhere. And what do we mean by tenderness? When we cradle a baby, a newborn child, how do we treat a newborn child? Yes. And our beautiful animal family, right? And even the plants. How you doing, honey? Need some water? You okay? Yeah. If we could only treat ourselves that way, look ourselves in the mirror and say, how you doing, honey? Do you need some water? Do you need some tenderness? Yes. Because sometimes we're the hardest on ourselves. And when we're hard on ourselves, we think it makes us stronger and makes us better. And it actually is using up the energy that we could use to be more love. So if we allowed ourselves to be tender with ourselves and treated ourselves as tenderly as we would an infant rocking ourselves, what might that make possible when we show up after having been tender? And you can think of it. Some of us need to because we have a servant leadership mindset. We think, I need to do for others, I need to do for others, I need to do for others. What if taking care of yourself is doing for others? What if loving you tenderly is saying, I am practicing the thing that I want to be? Look at me practicing on me. I'm getting so good at being tender with myself that I become a tenderness broadcasting station. And I am able to broadcast tenderness because I know how to do it. I know how to be tender in the hard places when it's hard. You have all these tools. You have them within you. Tenderness is something that you can turn toward yourself. Let your tears come. Let your laughter come. Let your joy come. All because you allow for everything that shows up to be transformed ultimately into your loving presence. You have everything you need. And I think I have another slide for that, an affirmation for the end of our thing. Yes. Hey, look at that. I have everything I need within me to fully participate with all life brings. I am completely equipped by Spirit, and so it is. Thank you.